Hey, what's going on, guys? So I played the Call of Duty World War II beta, put several hours into the game, and had a lot of fun streaming on Twitch. I would love to give you guys my pros and cons in the game, let you guys know what I'm actually looking forward to this November, and to see if this game actually lives up to all the hype it's been given. So I'll go ahead and start off this thing with just saying, I haven't looked forward to a Call of Duty in quite a while. I mean, hell, I bought Black Ops 3 and thought it was okay. I mean, I played Advanced Warfare, so I was kind of a little hesitant of Sledgehammer actually making this Call of Duty, and I didn't even buy Infinite Warfare last year. I mean, I was kind of upset because I love, the Modern Warfare series, and I love, playing in modern times, and, how simple, the boots on the ground type of feeling is. So to tell you guys the truth, I was not looking forward to this Call of Duty. I was kind of hesitant of it, but I definitely heard a lot of people, a lot of chatter of saying, how great the game is and how good it is. So I was like, you know what, I've got to give my hands on it, give it a try. And just see how it goes. So right now is the footage that I got from my stream that I did today, and I have to say, out of the hours that I actually put into the game, playing it and just having fun, testing out guns, testing out the different game modes, I have to say that I'm actually pretty impressed. I mean, I haven't been impressed in quite a while with a Call of Duty, so for me to kind of say that is just kind of weird because I mean, I don't know. I really do. I feel like everybody's kind of feeling that fatigue of Call of Duties, of being let down and not knowing if the next Call of Duty is going to be the great thing to go to, or the next thing. Because I definitely remember. I mean, back in 2001, when I was a little kid in middle school, I remember playing Call of Duty, the first one, on PC, and having a lot of fun with that, and just being like, wow, this is amazing. And then in 06, 07, when Call of Duty 2 came out with a 360, and then so on and so forth, everything was just a great thing to look forward to, and Call of Duty kept innovating. And then they kind of went through this slump. And I know everybody kind of felt the slump, felt the sluggish thing of Call of Duties, but now I have to say, guys, I mean, to give you guys the most honest opinion possible, I actually do look forward to this World War II game. I really do. It's kind of just a going back to roots of Call of Duty, going back to World War II, and feeling that that gritty feeling, that really grit, boots on the ground type of feeling, great combat. And just it really does kind of bring me back to where the game started off at. I have to say, though, too, I mean, I love learning about World War II. The different tactics and weapons and conflicts that happened throughout World War II is one thing I really love to just kind of soak up like a sponge and love to learn. I mean, hell, throughout ROTC, when I was becoming a second lieutenant, we were pretty much just taught all the tactics and stuff like that from World War II conflict. So a lot of knowledge came out of this. A lot of media came out of this. I mean, you have video games, you have movies like Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers. So a lot of stuff has come out of this conflict. So I'm really happy to actually return back to World War II. So now let me get into my pros of this game, and I have to say, I have to start out with the just the atmosphere, the maps and the design and the textures of this game really make it pop out, make it really realistic, and I just think it's really cool. You have destructive environments, you have different smoke effects, and the gun firing and the sound effects and stuff like that is another pro for me. Just make you feel really immersed in the game. I think they really paid attention to the different atmospheres of World War II, the different environments, as well as the different guns and the sounds that guns make and the sound that explosives make, really kind of just draw you into the World War II conflict. I mean, the ting of a M1 Garand going off is just, oh my god, it's just amazing to kind of hear that in a World War II game that we haven't had in quite a while. We haven't been able to hear that ting of an M1 Garand, or the sound of the PPSH as it's kind of just railing through all of this ammo, just kind of like a buzzsaw, and you're just like, oh my god, I'm already out of ammo, I gotta reload again. It's just kind of cool sounds like that, and it just kind of brings you back to, I mean, hell, the last World War II game that we had was World at War, and that was back in 2008. So, all these sounds and everything, it just kind of brings me back to the glory days of Call of Duty, and it's nice to be back in the World War II conflict with, the great sound and the great atmosphere and environment that we placed in. For the next pro, I have to say that the game mode War is amazing. I mean, it takes a shot pretty much out of Overwatch and, giving you different objectives to make your way through a map. And, playing either assault or defense is amazing. And it just, it kind of feels like a story. I mean, in Overwatch, it's not really much of a story because you're just, you're clearing this way to this, to this objective, blah, blah, blah. But for here, there's somebody out there just saying, hey, you know what, we need to get this objective in order to, get to the next one. And, we have an overall objective of what we're going to do, and it's kind of based off of, different objectives that happen in World War II. So I really do like war. It makes it feel more real, kind of hunkered down, and it makes you, makes it worth, fighting for in multiplayer. So I really do like it that war has been introduced. I'm happy too that kill streaks have been kind of toned down. At least, the only one that I've actually seen is the flamethrower. But I really do like just the communication, the teamwork it actually takes to win some of the games in here is really good. It's really I cannot praise more of war enough. But it's definitely a game mode that I really urge people to try out, and I hope you really enjoy. For my last pro, I actually do like the way they kind of simpled out the create a class. I mean, you don't have the pick 10 or the pick 13 or whatever that you used to have in, Black Ops 2 or Black Ops 3 or whatever. You have a simple, hey, pick this division. In this division, you get a certain amount of perks or whatever as you're ranking up through it, and then you get a basic training perk. And I really do like that. It's very simple. There's not a whole lot of stuff you have to handle besides, what weapon you want to use and what attachment you have to use. And that's just one thing I really do like, the simplification of it, and kind of just like dumbing it down back to where Call of Duty 1 and Call of Duty 2 didn't really have perks, but it had like different sniper rifle setups and assault setups and stuff like that. So I really do like kind of the dumbing down and kind of making it a little bit more basic. And maybe I'm a basic bitch for saying that, but I kind of like it like that. And it makes it funny for me too, because when I was in the Army, I was an infantry officer, but I was also airborne. So I actually got into a conflict of I don't know who to pick. I don't know if I'm an infantry guy or if I should pick airborne. But so far, I've actually had both. I had fun playing both divisions, and I really hope you guys did too, because infantry and airborne are actually pretty cool with having a bayonet or having a silencer on your gun so you can actually sneak around is pretty badass. So now on to the cons, and I have to say, I understand that this is a beta. I understand that they're just trying to test out, different weapons, the servers, and all types of other things. So I understand that the stuff that I might gripe about, or the stuff that, I see as cons to the multiplayer into the beta, are possibly going to be fixed in the future. So just kind of take what I have to say with a grain of salt, and I would love to know what you guys think of, the different things that you might have to complain about in the beta and what you guys don't like, and I would love to know if it's the same stuff that I'm kind of talking about. So the first thing is some of the weapons. So I do kind of feel weird with some of the weapons just because I feel like some of the damages are kind of off between, SMGs or assault rifles. I get into a lot of gunfights where I'll shoot first, but then I'll die really quickly before I even get a chance to kind of defend myself, or I'll get maybe a couple of shots on somebody and then I'll just immediately drop from the guy that I'm fighting. So kind of me thinks it's either a weapon problem or it's a connectivity problem. So hopefully something like that gets fixed to where either weapons do the amount of damage that they should do as like an assault rifle range or a submachine gun range, or something is fixed with connectivity. I know Call of Duty used to have the lag compensation. That was one thing that was pretty much the driving force that actually got me away from Call of Duty as a series, because I hate paying a lot of money for internet, and then my internet connectivity being hampered down by other people's internet. So that's one thing that I really hate about it. I really hope lag compensation is not coming back to Call of Duty, and hopefully some type of the connection will be fixed. I mean, that's again, I don't know if it's the weapons or if it's the connectivity, but either one of them I would love to see them get fixed, and hopefully when the game releases, the problems that I actually ran into won't be that bad. So my next con actually worries me just because I know it's probably going to be coming in future DLC or future supply drops for some reason. But, I might be actually wrong about this, but they just didn't put them into the beta of the multiplayer. So one thing I'm actually concerned about is there's actually some guns missing. Like, German, the bolt action rifles are from World War II are actually missing. Or, the famous Thompson submachine gun is missing, or the M1 carbine is missing. Different weapons that were utilized in World War II aren't in the multiplayer. So it just makes me really concerned that is that going to be future DLC, or is that going to be in a future, supply drop that people are going to have to pay for, even though, they were in previous Call of Duties and they were in World War II, that they just weren't added, for people to make a quick buck. So I understand they're a business. They want to make, profits and stuff like that, but I do feel it kind of cheesy if they're adding, those type of guns, like the bolt action rifles, the Thompson submachine gun, the M1 carbine, stuff like that, as paid DLC or, paid supply drops in order to get it. So that's just one thing I have a concern about. I see it as a con, and I kind of am expecting it to be a paid DLC thing to actually see those guns back in here, because how can you have a World War II game without the Thompson submachine gun? I mean, like, that's what, that submachine was actually, famous for, the Mafia and World War II. Now, I know my last con is probably going to get me some heat, but I do want to talk about it just because it kind of drew me out of the whole experience, the whole, what World War II was about and the different, the atmosphere of World War II. So the whole video of, going through your different factions or divisions of, infantry, airborne, and such. When I went to the Airborne, it was a female Airborne officer, and I was like, there was no females in Airborne. There was like no females in any frontline in the front line during World War II on the American side. So it was weird for me to see an airborne female officer. And it was just, it kind of took me out. I was like, what the hell is this? Because, learning World War II, growing up, studying it and everything. And I actually asked Miss Butter about it, and I would love to, kind of get into this more with her in a later video. But for me, that was just a con just because it drew me out, because I was like, no, that's not how World War II was fought. That's not exactly what happened. And it was just kind of a weird thing for me. I know for some people they don't care about it, and it's not a big deal to them. But to me, it just kind of drew me out of it, and I was just like, what in the world is this? But it's a small con. I know people are trying to integrate females and whatnot into video games, but for me, trying to stay authentic with World War II and the infantry and the airborne and other units that were in World War II and the brave men that sacrificed their lives for their country. It was very weird for me, and I know I'm going to get hate for it, but it was just one thing that just kind of drew me out. So I would love to expand on it a little bit more with Miss Butter to give you guys a female's perspective of somebody that was an officer that was in the Army and that went to Afghanistan and stuff like that. But I'm going to save that for a later date, but that was a con for me when I actually logged in. But all that being said, guys, I have to say I really did enjoy playing Call of Duty World War II. Getting into it, getting back in the atmosphere of it, getting back into the sounds of it, really drew me in and kept me involved in the game and having a lot of fun and playing it. And I really do look forward to playing, with the Butter Brigade and having a lot more people on my team instead of just me or one or two other people. I really do look forward to playing a lot more people in the community and having a lot of fun with everyone. And I have to say that it's fun coming back to what I kind of grew up with, World War II video games, and just coming back to it made me really happy too, because there's a lot of young people out there that are growing up playing Infinite Warfare and stuff like that, and now learning about our history. But the one way that I actually learned about history was through video games, World War II games, and even Battlefield World War I. There's stuff that I learned about that that happened, that conflict, and it's just lucky enough that in Kansas City we have a World War I museum. But with these games that go back in time and go to World War I with Battlefield 1 or go to World War II with Call of Duty World War II, it gives people a chance to learn about the conflicts. I mean, hell, one way I learned about the conflict was I was able to learn about different types of weapons that were used. I mean, the Sturmgewehr, the German assault rifle, that was one thing that I learned about that I kind of fell in love with using in multiplayer. But, one thing that I would not have learned that if I didn't play Call of Duty. So I want to, hopefully this game gives people a chance to learn a lot more about history, learn about World War II, learn about the sacrifices that people, had to make, the rations that people had to have back in the United States, and when people, were brave enough to go overseas and to fight evil. Coming back to this game really just puts into perspective everything, and I really do hope that the young people out there learn a lot about this conflict through the eyes of the video game and their experience with it. So with that being said, I would love to know what your guys' experience was with the game. I mean, I know only a few people actually got to play it because, it's either you pre-ordered the game or you got a beta code and you got to play it. But I would love to know what you guys think about the game. If you watched, YouTube videos over it, or if you watched my Twitch stream, or you watched other people's Twitch streams, I would love to know what you guys think in the game. Let me know what you're most afraid about. Let me know what you're looking forward to. Because I really do look forward to playing this game when it comes out in November. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you got something out of it. I hope, I was able to give you guys the best interpretation of, how I felt with the game. But, again, I hope you guys enjoyed it. So if you did, please drop me a like. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new to the channel. I want to say thank you guys all for your amazing support. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. And I will see you guys next time.